music and the words. When I was a child, I love language, and I think about how we learn our language from our family. So often, many of the words that we learn are the subtle meanings that we receive are part of the message we get about ourselves that may or may not be true. And I'll give you an example. My word for this year is understanding. And when I think of that word and I think of myself as a little kid, I think about, I was the baby, and so I had 2 older brothers, and I think about a time that I wandered into one of their rooms and took something that didn't belong to me and was fiddling with it in a very innocent way, or I'd like to think so. And my mother was like, my brother got upset, and she's like, "Do you understand why he's upset?" And I'm like, "Well, no," and she's explaining to me that, if you can just understand why he feels the way he does, that belongs to him and he's afraid you'll break it. Or he just wants you to ask him before you take it. And so there was this kind of thing that I was like, understanding means, your little brain kind of wraps around it, that I don't have all the information I need to grasp what's happening here. So I need to go get more information. Then when the picture's complete, I'll have it and I'll get it and we can move forward and I'll know everything and do everything. By the way, my parents told me they knew everything. So I did grow up with the concept that at some point I would know it all, like they did, regardless of what they were demonstrating out of the world. For some reason, I was under the concept and the illusion that I was going to know it all at some point, and I think I never quite shook that desire to really grasp it all. So, and then it evolved to being compassionate, Okay, let me hear from your point of view. Can I put myself in your shoes and get why you feel the way you do, even if I didn't come off the gate feeling that way? So, and I think as we do, you get different concepts as you move along, and you try to expand your awareness of how that fits. Since I had this word, it just happened to coincide with this course that I'm taking and the writing that I'm doing and the presenting that I'm doing, and a whole other idea of what understanding is. I just let it kind of stew, and I just let it kind of marinate and see what was bubbling up for me. And of course, I love the roots of words and that sort of thing. And what was falling for me is, of course, what's standing under it all? Understanding what's standing under it all, right? And I was reading some other things too about people saying, well, if my understanding is different to you, we're going to come to an understanding. Well, that means you have an understanding and I have an understanding, but we're looking for common ground, right? And of course, the seeker in me wants that ultimate truth. I want to know what the real truth is, and can't we all go there? But there's this whole thing of finding this common ground and this what is underneath it all. And so I was thinking about that in our spiritual search, and what does that mean? Like, what is that ultimate truth? What is that? And as we know, we are all one, and yet we're individuated. So it is true that you may have a different understanding. And your understanding may be just as valid as mine. Yeah, it really might. No, totally kidding. Yeah, that's just me. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, but what it made me think of too is the misconceptions, back to the childhood thing, the misconceptions we have about what we're standing on, right? So if I decide that I am not a worthy person, that also is firsthand experience, then that's what I'm standing on, and that's where I'm rooted, and that's from which all things proceed. I'm going to express from that place, or not express because I can't feel worthy that I am, or I can't manifest those good things, because what am I standing on? I'm standing on the belief that I'm not worth that. So from there it is. And then, they always talk about the shifting sands. Well, yeah, if I'm not sure about it, or I keep changing my mind about what's underneath me and where I'm rooted, then everything is the shifting sand. And if I build my rock, what is that whole thing about, I can't quote it, but if I try to build my foundation on the shifting sands, then there will come a time where that's going to fall apart, right? And so I'm saying, what is underneath? What is the truth? Where do we find our rock and our healing, right? And I loved all those. Everything falls into place so beautifully with the music and the words and the inspirational moments. And so for me, there's this sense that I'm getting and experiencing so much more in my life of an appreciation of the presence of Spirit. And to truly, what I was reading in the beginning about, you already got it. It's already here. You're already all here. What if we build our rock on that idea? Or these other ideas that catch your imagination and resonate with you and you know it's true. My mom used to like to say, you can take one idea all the way to God, So it's like, because it's truth. If it's truth, and that's where you're rooted. So paying more attention to what resonates, what lights you up. Again, I love to say that, but I mean that because I think we are to listen to our spirit. We are to listen and relax into. And what does it mean to sink into that? And if we're going to stew in something, not giving so much credence and power to all the fears, and I was thinking there's a part I want to read something that I was talking with Raheem this week on, because one of the thing you sang last week, I think it was your first song, the one that always makes us cry. There's just one line in there, and I want to read. And I may say it another way than how it came out from you as far as my interpretation, but I'm just going to say how it hit me that day. Okay, it's not enough, those many years, what worked before to calm the fears. I had to let them drown. I had to let them drown. And it caught me in an interesting way because one of my most recent favorite sayings has been one that I've heard Alan Cohen quote a lot, and I've probably said recently to you guys, and that is, there's this old saying that, when the the fears are the voice of ego, right? And it's just over there, nip, 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 nip. But we know it's not the real voice. We know that's not the truth. And so his saying that he likes to quote from one of his teachers was, "The dogs bark and the caravan moves on." And I just have been taking that to heart so much lately because it's like in our process, it doesn't mean we will never hear the fear. But can we discern enough to know, oh, that's just the dogs barking, and I'm still doing this? Yes, that's still there. But, and you're part of that, of saying, I had to let them drown. Is, to me, it's like, no, I'm just not giving them credence anymore. And it's stepping into that role and that foundation of being that co-creator with God that says, I get to choose. We so disempower ourselves. We get ourselves so busy trying to control the minutia that we forget that if we come from that place of understanding, what's standing under all of this is that I'm a co-creator with God, and I'm the one that animated that thing to begin with. And that's the image I got in my mind when you said that about letting him drown. My grandkids love this, my kids loved it. But I used to love to do puppet stuff, and I didn't train or anything. It's just the little actor in me liked to play that. And so I would take sock puppets, or my hand, or whatever it might be. And, the big thing with my grandkids to this day is make it talk, whatever it is. It could be a stuffed animal, or they just want to challenge me, what would this say, or what would that voice sound like, And we just have so much fun with that. But that kind of popped in my head with that phrase, let them drown, because, it's like, drown? Oh, yeah. Why would I feel? Because I created the thing, I feel attached to it, right? But what if I really, really, really get that what's standing under that is the fact that I'm a co-creator with God? I'm the one that gave it life. I'm the one that can say, you're just a sock. You're just a sock that I chose to animate. And you know what? I don't want to listen to that voice anymore. I want what's real. I mean, the lightness of being, yes. As long as I know it's a sock and we're playing, we're good. But on the fear thing, do you know what I'm saying? It's like for us to say, to look that fear and go, I'm the one that gave that power. I'm the one that can take that power away. It only has life because I'm speaking through it. It only has life because I'm pretending that this thing matters. I'm pretending because it's not based in God. If it's fear, it's not based in God. So some part of me is pretending that it's real. And I'm acting off of that. And I'm frantic and and I thought about that frenetic energy we get when we're worrying about things. And, I was thinking about this, if we have a bucket of mud, and there's mud and there's water, and if you go to try to understand what's in there, if you go in with that frenetic energy, you're just going to stir it up. And then what do you see? You can't see what's in there because you've just made a big mess, right? But what is that? That's that prayer, that coming to peace. Let it settle. I don't have to mess with this. I am not giving it my energy. Let me just withdraw my frenetic energy from this for a minute and sit and be with it, as we've heard those phrases. Then I can look and go, okay, it's mostly just clean water and da-da-da, and whatever I need to know about it. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think there's so many analogies about, how do we reclaim our power? How do we take it back and say, I'm the one that said that mattered? It really doesn't. How much does that really matter to me? How many of our things could we let go of if we just took a minute? It makes me think of when we're purging our houses, right? How much of the stuff around us do we even ever use or look at or, And so, yeah, it's there. If it's not bothering you, fine, but sometimes we like that feeling of just clearing things out. Or if something's in your way and it's making so much of a mess that you're going to trip down the stairs, maybe it's time to deal with it, And so it's that sort of thing. This hurts me now. So that's my billboard to say it's time to do something with it. So I think that knowledge of how do I come to a place where I really, truly get that understanding, what's standing under this, is that I was created to be that. There's even a place in the what you read about breathing that life through that, bringing that flow into what you are doing and what you are creating, in your life, and drawing that through, plugging in and drawing through. But we have to show up. I would love to, let me see that part again in there. We have to show up as that full self. If I can get back to it. If I can't, it's okay. I won't worry about it. So it's that feeling, though, of here I am. If I'm experiencing the fear, yes, there is more information for me to gather and understand and blah, blah, blah. But what if, for example, I have a friend that's dealing with a sister that she would love to heal things with, but the sister will not respond to her. She still gets to heal her side of it, right? She doesn't fully understand why there is even an issue. And so in her heart wants to know why so she can fix it, right? But that feeling is, how can I show up with the feeling I need for my healing regardless of what she does? What is under that? So there's this part of her that wants to understand what's under the rift, right? She may or may not get that answer, but she can understand that she's made of love and deserves healthy relationships. And do you see what I'm saying? So there's that connecting to the feelings she craves, is that feeling of full acceptance of self and loving herself no matter how someone else may or may not view her. You know, there's just this, so underneath it all, if we haven't dug, you know, they say you dig down far enough, you're going to hit water or you're going to hit rock. You know what I'm saying? So how far down? I think the answers are much more simple than we make them. For myself, I think that's true. I tend to endlessly complicate things. I like understanding this, or we were talking about loving Excel sheets, you know. I love being able to sort it different ways and think about it different ways. And if that entertains me, fine. That can be a little hobby in my mind. But I think the truth has to be accessible. Because think of it this way. We know that's a God of good. We know it's a God of love. We know it's a God of power and compassion. We all have different levels of capacity to understand. But God is accessible to all. That must mean that the answer is simple. The answer is simple. So how do we connect more with love? It always goes back to that, doesn't it? How do we draw more of that? And I honestly believe it's in cultivating the connection, which means you have to believe you are meant to. You have to believe you're made for that. We have to believe and accept our divinity. We have to understand that each and every one of us was meant to experience the fullness of life in any form. In any form, the fullness, the abundance that's offered us, the abundance of love, the releasing of the fear. Not abundance of fear, not abundance of challenges. What if it is just as simple as saying, you know what, I'm dropping the socks, I'm dropping all those little puppets that I had going, and the power and understanding you were the puppeteer all along. You were the puppeteer. If it's a fear, you were the puppeteer. If it comes from love, it's rooted in spirit. It's rooted in the Creator. It's rooted in your co-creation and how to foster that connection more deeply and more deeply so that what we're animating is our full joy. And we can do it with as much zeal and excitement as we are playing with the little puppets, right? How can I explore? What other way? How creative can I get about my kindness? How creative can I get about my loving? In what ways can I just go have fun so that I lift my spirit, so that I show up as spirit? How do I show up as spirit? And to savor those moments. You know, we were talking, a friend of mine and I the other day, about how, you know, if something is a problem, then we'll sit there and go, okay, and we'll be picking it apart for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long it is. And then if something is beautiful, we go, oh, isn't that pretty? And da-da-da-da-da, right? Well, taking that moment, savoring the sip of wine, taking the moment to look at the sky, taking the moment to, when you're hugging someone, to feel their presence and offer them yours. To feel it. To feel it. You know, to be in that moment, to truly just breathe in that breath of life. It's all around us every day. So I think when I'm exploring my understanding now, it's a much more fun thing to think, what am I building on? What am I animating? What am I pretending is true? Really, when it comes down to it, what am I pretending is true? And what is really true? I mean, that empowers me to think of it that way, because our mind, our spirit, that God has been trying to give us that for so long. And imagine the joy of our guidance, our angels, however you see it, you know, your connection with God. And I think that with all the frou-frou around the world and all the little voices and all the little dogs barking, if we can come to that place to where what we're hearing is that which makes us step forward. What made me step forward today? And a lot of people in a spiritual practice will take a moment at the end of the day and go, how'd I do? Like, what did I get out of this? And some people take the moment to go, oh, I knew that was a special moment, but now that I'm thinking about it, that sure was a gift too. And savoring that, and that being part of what you're building your ground on. That's your foundation, is those things which bless you, and you understand you more as you examine what lights you up and put it in your toolkit. This is me. This is me. When you see the sky and it dazzles you, or your beautiful roses, that's you. That is you. That is a part of you, or you wouldn't resonate with it like that. That's part of your foundation. When I hear a gorgeous song, when you guys play and you sing and it just transports me, then I get to say, that's part of me. That's part of what makes me feel rooted in spirit. That's part of what I draw on when I need to lift. So that's of God. That's of good. And I am of good, and I accept that gift. So much of it is just accepting. This is what we were meant to experience. To have this wealth of good around us. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be to the Creator if he had a human trace, he, she, it? To have all this gloriousness around us, and we're over there going, oh, my card, it got a ding, and and it's like, oh my gosh, guys, did you see that bounteous fruit at your table this morning? Did you see it? And so it's there for our vision, it's there for our perception, it's there, we're there. And back to the beginning of what that was all saying is, I have all I need right here. I'm already all I need now. Your mind doesn't want to quite wrap itself around that, right? Because it's like, you do want to keep refining, yes. And I will come, I would add, and I will come to more joy and more understanding of what that means, more understanding of what being unlimited means. I want to test that one. If this is our playground, right? This is our scratch paper. This is our laboratory here. I want to find out just how good it can get. Wouldn't that be fun to make that the goal? How happy can I get? How joyful can I get? How creative can I get? What if that's what we're supposed to be exploring? Not supposed to, you get what I'm saying. But what if we made that what we're exploring? What if that puts us more on track? Is to say, just how good can this get? I want to find out. I want to find out. And if I fall short, I'm still having fun, right? And I'm still creative, and I'm still blessing other people, and I'm still finding, how many different ways can I love? How many different ways can I create? How many different things speak to me? And I tried that, and that's like trying on a dress that didn't fit. Nope, that one's not for me. That's okay. But wow. Look at that, So I just think it's just like our ending thing of everything is always working out for me. It's those affirmations that speak to you. It's that knowledge that, we were given this free will to embrace those treasured wounds and milk them for every last bit of pain we can get out of them. Or we can decide to let them drown, or set aside the sock we were animating. And we can put our whole attention, I like the dog barking thing, because to me that's saying, yeah, you're there, but you don't matter. I get to say, you have no control over where I'm going now. That's just a voice, yeah, I hear you. But guess what? This train is rumbling, this wagon is heading out, and I'm still moving forward. So that's it. Give yourself credit for every step you take forward. You're headed in the right direction. You may not see it all. It may feel like you're in the mist, but you're going to move through it. You just keep stepping one step at a time. Check in. Make sure you're facing the right way, and just put one foot in front of the other. We will get there. We are there. We will get to where our vision sees what we're capable of. And I love that. When I take that to heart, it feels right to me. So that is my new understanding. So let's take that into meditation. Thank you. So breathe into your heart center, your gut, your throat, every part of you where you feel a core of energy. And let resonate with you what captures your imagination, what makes your spirit feel a yes. It might be something you heard sung today. It might be something I said. It might be something you felt or thought. Take those things to heart. They are your foundation, part of your foundation. And we recognize them as such. We recognize and we refine that indicator in us, the resonation, that part of us that knows how to recognize truth and more deeply our truth. What do I most need to know in this time for my understanding? What do I most need to stand on, to feel my strength and power and worthiness? What truths help me know that I am of God? Sometimes I'm part of that wave in the ocean. Sometimes I'm that still place where the small fish swim. What do I need to be and show up as now? And those answers come from cause itself, our understanding of cause itself. So beneath it all, the who am I comes from what you love, from where you feel the presence, from where you feel the joy. We invoke that with great gratitude for the life so abundant and expressed in so many different ways that something captures our imagination. And if we let it, every day it captures our imagination. And we smile. It's like you get the cosmic giggle in that. What a perfect divine setup it is. The signs and the visions and the gifts all around us all the time. So thank you, God, for your presence. Thank you, God, for my presence. Thank you, God, for the presence of those ones that bless us all the time, our friendships, our families, those ones that we don't even know, the silent angels that lift us and hold us dear. And into that energy, let's pour the love, the self-acceptance, the healing power of prayer. So we place those ones we have cares and concerns for into this circle at this time. You can say their name out loud or in your heart.